Have you ever wondered how differently your life could have been if you did one simple action? I'm sure you have. It's a really fascinating thought. Such fascination would likely lead to a movie of it, right? Well, 2004's The Butterfly Effect is the answer to your question, and yeah, heavy on the 2000s part. This is an exaggerated dark movie, albeit that's kind of how it is with Hollywood, but it presents a similar idea nonetheless. College student Evan Treborn has had blackouts throughout his entire life, and eventually realizes these were moments he went back in time and can change certain outcomes. Now, before we get into this, I know Ashton Kutcher's not a great person. Pretty sure he's friends with P. Diddy and straight up groomed Mila Kunis, so it feels weird giving him props for a surprisingly good performance, but I just want to mention it because the movie was unfairly trashed at time of release, and I want to look back and see if it deserves some appraisal, and let me say, this film gets crazy, and that is honestly kind of an understatement. It is fucking wild. Oh, and I'll be doing the director's cut, you'll see why in a bit. The film starts with basically the ending, seeing him in a mental asylum, so you can guess how well this goes out for Evan. We flash back to when he was younger, and we spend a good 30 minutes doing so. Honestly, it's not too bad. It gives us context, and when we see him come back later, it holds a lot of weight. We see his mom Andrea, but not his dad. We'll learn why later. Also, Evan has a dog, keep a close eye on them. She takes him to school where we meet Tommy, a character who will only get worse. Like, way worse. It's kind of insane, honestly, the shit he does. Andrea speaks to a teacher wherein she sees a pretty damn disturbing drawing Evan has made the day before. Yeah, I don't know if the movie explains this. I believe it was one of the blackouts, but this doesn't really make sense. The later blackouts, like the ones we see after where he's written it in a journal as a result of this, is because he sees a psychiatrist who recommends this, and him rereading the journals is what allows him to go during the blackouts, like go in between them and see what happened. So how did these early blackouts start when he wasn't writing them down? How would he even have a blackout, which was presumably him going back in time, if he didn't have a way to do so? And what the fuck was even the point of drawing this? Listen, I enjoy the movie despite its bleakness. The characters are interesting and some of the questions it ponders, and the 2000s feel certainly makes it memorable, but damn do these rules make no sense sometimes. Apparently these are the two inmates in the prison he later shanks. I didn't quite catch this, somebody else did. But still, how could he go back to this moment without writing it down? That was the only way he could throughout the film, or at the very end where he watched a video, but there's no video of this here. Also, by this point, he had already known the toll time travel is taking on his brain by the time he shanks those prisoners, and so he decided to go back and waste one time doing this? Like, you're getting brain damage each time you're doing it. By this point in the movie, he knows that, so he went back in time and wasted it doing a drawing? Okay. Anyways, he gets a journal and starts writing things down, having occasional blackouts again. He ends up hanging out with Tommy and Kaylee, who are there with their dad, played by Eric Stoltz. Funny considering I just watched Back to the Future and he was originally going to be in it. Here he is, making a movie, and considering he's a grown adult making a movie with kids, yeah, you can kind of guess what's going to happen. It could definitely be understood why many wrote this film off as tasteless, and I sort of agree, but they do something with the scene later on where Evan tries stopping the father and it leads to a major change, so it does affect the plot. It's not just like cheap, like, exploitation flick, I guess, and it more so focuses on the effects it has on the characters, so it doesn't feel totally cheap as well, just very out there and teetering the line very closely. Andrea ends up talking to a psychiatrist who tells her she should set up a meeting between Evan and his father Jason. That goes about as well as you'd expect. I know this review sounds a bit weird in terms of phrasing, but for the first 30 minutes, this film kind of reads like one bad event after another, so it sounds like a bit repetitive or a bit disjointed, but that's kind of how the film does it, so, But either way, 6 years pass as the kids all smoke, one of the best bonding activities. This is also where we meet Lenny, who Tommy holds in high regard.
What are you looking for anyway? Shut up, lardass.
Interestingly, the child-molesting father has a stick of dynamite.
I knew Dad had a blockbuster down here.
That is... what? If you're talking about the ones from the 40s, those were huge aerial bombs. This is not that, you fucking moron. However, what's not moronic is this shot. Clever, though it's not surprising. This is from the same cinematographers Poltergeist, Weird Science, Star Trek First Contact, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That last one is interesting because it also starred Eric Stoltz in his first role, who would end up playing the child molester in this movie. Yuck. They end up putting the stick of dynamite in the mailbox, but Evan blacks out, seeing them running away, with Lenny critically injured. We get a bit of foreshadowing as to the toll of time travel when the psychiatrist tries to get Evan to remember what happened, causing a nosebleed. It's a little dramatic in editing, but it gives a personality and is effective in its build-up, so it works. They go to a movie theater wherein Tommy continually displays that yes, this kid has got to go. He is fucking insane. Also, I guess this film takes place, at least at the moment, in 1995, judging by that poster of 7. Or maybe early 1996 since movies used to last that long in theaters? Those were the days. I say that like I lived through them. Anyways, watching the film lasts all of 3 seconds before Kaylee leaves. traumatized by everything that's happened, with Evan comforting her as they kiss. This just absolutely sends Tommy off the edge, who beats this guy to a pulp for insulting him. They end up seeing Lenny, who's doing pretty fine all things considering. He's even got a hobby, making model airplanes. And they lead him out into another traumatic event. Although I can't really blame them, the whole theme of this movie seems to be Murphy's Law more than anything else, and how everything is going wrong. It gives it this tangible feeling that's hard to describe or recreate, but it's a part of what makes this film so interesting to me. Yeah, it's trashy and stupid at times, but the acting can be great, the directing and music as well, and the exploration of the premise is interesting enough, and gives the film an unmistakable aura that permeates throughout its runtime. It's hard to miss. Oh yeah, Evan's dog gets burned by Tommy. I told you to remember them for a reason. Fucking dark. I mean, it's a dog, Tommy, for fuck's sake. This is enough for Andrea, obviously, as her and Evan move out, with him promising to come back for Kaylee. Damn, this shit is dark. It's weird to say this stuff makes the film entertaining, as it's so bleak and crazy, but it certainly stops him from feeling boring and cliched. Years pass, I believe 7, and Evan is doing pretty well at college. He's not even having any blackouts. Maybe that's just because his life is boring and not worth fucking up. Being serious, he seems happy and even has a roommate named Thumper. He's emo, in case it was too subtle to notice. Not gonna lie, he's actually pretty cool. I feel like the film could have made him a total loser and asshole, but he's pretty supportive of Ethan when shit hits the fan, and his brief scenes are nice. It's crazy to see him here when nowadays his actor looks radically different. It's been over 2 decades, but still, dude looks good. They go to a bar wherein some frat douches cause Thumper to... Okay, back to dramatic it is, movie. You were doing well for like 5 minutes. Ethan starts talking to this girl, which leads to them going back to his dorm and his journals being found. Keeping in line with the whole butterfly effect thing, this one action catapults the entire plot, despite how small it seems. I like that. It is weird though that Evan is visibly uncomfortable, yet this girl pushes him to continue. What he's talking about is pretty dark as well, mainly his dog dying. Granted, she didn't know that, but he mentioned someone screaming, so even if, I wouldn't know, I wouldn't press someone any further to read something like that. Let alone, no one would really do that. But whatever. This causes him to remember what happened to Crockett, his dog, and see him burnt alive. Wonderful. I don't believe he changed anything though, so that's why he returns to the same universe. But this is a little confusing. I thought the blackouts were when he took control later on. Is he just capable of viewing them in between without actually affecting them? Like he already went back and changed it leading to the universe he's right now, and just happened to view the in-between without affecting it, but later on actually affects it? It's kind of bizarre, but I guess it's supposed to show he is capable of filling in the blanks of what happened and figure it out without actually screwing over his life, which just kind of adds to the tragedy of this film. This causes him to return to Lenny's house, where he's still making model airplanes, not knocking it, but it's clear he has a hard time after the incident, really socializing or anything. Evan tries picking at the sore subject, which obviously doesn't go well, but I do understand him. Think about it. Having all these blackouts, losing your dog, moving away from your crush, having it all return extremely quickly in one night, I understand his impulsiveness. It helps make him a flawed and interesting character, which is sort of rare for a Hollywood movie. I feel their protagonists are usually boring and flaccid, and are just so one-note good. There's nothing wrong with making a character a good person, obviously, but they're so one note, so giving him these faults makes him feel more human, while still propelling the plot in a mostly natural way. He uses the journal again to see what happened with the mailbox. A mother and her baby blew up. Yeah, pretty excessive in its misery, but wow, that was surprising. I think that's the main reason this film sticks in people's minds. Something of this scale, a movie given a healthy budget, not a huge one, but still a healthy one, to go all out on these crazy ideas, it makes it really memorable and stick out. What other movie that was actually given money and looks pretty professional has done stuff like this? We get a sort of awkward cut to him meeting with his mom again. However, this scene is pretty important in setting up that his father, Jason, had similar time travel abilities. Andrea, his mom, is hesitant to speak on the topic, especially considering, he's dead, but they end up going to a psychic. Now, this scene is purely in the director's cut as far as I know, with it directly setting up that crazy-ass ending. Basically, the psychic reads Evan's palm and turns out he was never meant to be and he doesn't have a soul. Not a great thing to hear, and this leads to Andrea revealing she had 2 stillborns before Evan. And again, this is going to get dark and crazy at the end, so just wait, because the twist, or I guess this twist, is certainly interesting, and I have some things to say. It is a nice conversation and gives us some grounding in between the chaos, so that's pretty good. Evan goes to read another journal and gets stopped momentarily by Thumper. However, things get worse when he finds Kaylee working at a diner. Initially, things seem fine, and he even learns that Tommy's working in an auto shop, but when he tries to press on what happened in their childhood, specifically the stuff with the pedophile father, Kaylee gives him a reminder that everyone else is a lot worse off than he is, a sentiment he is unable to fully comprehend until it's too late. And it is too late, as later on in the dorm he gets a call from Tommy informing him that Kaylee has killed herself. Oh, and that he threatens to murder him if he ever sees him. This is a sad scene, honestly, where he goes to the funeral after everyone and places the paper where he once promised to come back to her, setting course for a journey that will change his and everyone else's life. This is the point of no return. Thus, he finally travels back to when Kaylee's father was, doing this shit. Evan very quickly catches him off guard by threatening to castrate him if he doesn't stop, doing this disgusting shit and being himself. This almost works, which is insane because if you really didn't add the fact that Tommy needs to be disciplined harder, this would have been the best outcome, and on his first try too, but then we wouldn't have a movie now, would we? Thus, the father leaves Kaylee alone but treats Tommy like shit, so he goes to prison. No matter for Evan, as after he deals with his new memories, which fucks up his brain momentarily, he's with Kaylee.
Hurry up, I want a quickie before school.
Things seem pretty good, in a very over-the-top way, and is smashed by the color palette, becoming the most colorful and happy it will ever be. Apparently everyone loves him, except for Thumper, meaning he replaced that lead frat douche earlier, which is evident by the people around him being complete assholes. But for Evan, it's something he's mostly willing to deal with and kind of forget to be with Kaylee. Again, he's not perfect, he's kind of an asshole here, but it makes him more, interesting, and it makes me more interested in his journey, knowing that he is false and isn't some boring one-dimensional character. Even when he's bullying the pledges, he doesn't fully commit to it. Either way, things end up terrible as, oh wow, look who's come back to be irrationally fucking angry. Oh, never mind, Evan just beat his skull in, landing in prison. Damn. Things go down the shitter pretty quickly, but I like how we spend a little bit of time before it all, showing Evan getting used to his life and makes the film feel like it's taking us on a journey, not a great or super well written one, but with some cleverness and earnestness to it nonetheless. It makes it feel like Evan's already been on a journey, despite this being the first time he time travels, and already feeling like he's a long way from the beginning because of the different characters and situations. Again, with the color palette, it just makes it feel truly different, so when the prison makes it look harsher, it's noticeable. Evan meets Carlos, played by Kevin Durand, who was just recently in The Naked Gun and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Here he's a lot more of a nicer guy, helping out Evan as he tries to get the journals from his mom. Unfortunately, they get taken by these Nazis, and to convince Carlos, he goes back in time and draws the pictures we saw before. Okay, I sort of get why he did it, to kind of prove to Carlos he can time travel, but also not really. All you needed to prove to Carlos was doing stigmata, stabbing your hands, which wouldn't even work. You shift reality, so as far as this guy would assume you left or just got taken over by an alternate version of yourself. Speaking of, what happens to him in these realities where he leaves and creates a new branch? Who takes over, if anyone, or do they just get destroyed? I would assume they get destroyed, adding an extra layer of recklessness and danger to this film. But the main thing is the mechanics not working. How would he remember you before you messed up your hands? The film makes a point that any action, especially big ones like this, would change reality, so he wouldn't remember you before, then after the incident. It would just be two completely different realities. Either way, bullshit logic aside, he helps him as Evan goes to make a deal with the two Nazis. He's gonna suck their dick, never mind, he's gonna shank them. Hot damn, this movie is something. Very fucking edgy and over the top, but I can't stop watching. Kinda like those people who watch car crashes and the accents afterwards. You know you shouldn't, but you wanna watch. He uses the journals to go back to the day his dog got burnt and gives Lenny a piece of metal. I'm sure that won't go wrong. He gets beaten by Tommy because back in those days, kids could just kinda roam around and do this type of shit. However, his anger at Evan trying to be with Kaylee gets stopped by Evan reasoning with him. It also gets stopped by the piece of metal Lenny stabs him with. Yeah, at this point I don't know what else to say. Movie is bleak. This causes Lenny to be institutionalized, and Kaylee runs away and becomes a prostitute. So, way less good than the previous timeline. This is also where the psychiatrist tells him and Andrea that the time travel, or to them, something unexplainable because they don't know that he's time traveling, is giving him brain damage. The new memories are overloading the old ones. This could be an interesting way to show him forgetting stuff, but it never really comes into play, or at least it doesn't play a big part when it should. I will say, this feels like a plausible thing if time travel were to actually exist. Reconstructing your brain to have years and years of memories you never really went through, causing hemorrhaging, it feels real and adds to the stakes in this film. He ends up finding Lenny, who is not having a good time, and tells him he should be where he is, that Evan should be institutionalized. In his quest for perfection, he has effectively made everyone's lives but his terrible, and honestly, now would be the best time to stop. Yeah, you have some problems, but comparatively to later, this seems like a cakewalk. However, his desperate search for perfection, trying to help his friends in an unintentionally selfish way, is painful to watch, knowing his good intentions will also be his fault. However, this next scene sort of frustrates me, where he goes back to meeting with his father Jason and basically does everything in his power to piss him off. Jason tries telling him he can't play God and change people without destroying who they were, but honestly, he just gets really dense in the scene, and look where that leads. He comes back, apparently in the same universe, because I guess it was just the same outcome, his father dying, but that was the same outcome of an earlier universe, not a set event in this one. He finds Kaylee's father, who I guess in every timeline is rocking the long hair. Evan interrogates him to find where Kaylee is, and the two talk. We basically get the same ideas reiterated, but this time it does seem to get through to Evan. Things are worse when he tries to make them better. So he has a genius idea to go back to the mailbox and try to save the mother and her kid, getting blown up and resulting in him becoming a quadriplegic. Ironically enough, this is the best universe, as Tommy is a good Christian boy, and Lenny and Kaylee are in a loving relationship. It is really weird to see Lenny so vocal, but that's kind of the point. We're with Evan this whole movie, so we get to see just how terrible it can get, and to now see this reality where it goes well for everyone but Evan. It's also jarring and different from everything that's been set up. Well, it doesn't just go bad for Evan, as we see Andrea has lung cancer. Determined to make things right, he goes back one last time. However, it proves to be most fatal, killing Kaylee and landing Evan in the worst spot he's ever been. His brain is irreversibly damaged, and his journals are gone. However, he does end up learning that his father used photos to go back in time, meaning there is a way to, well, not fix any of this, but Evan still believes otherwise. He ends up finding the video of his mother about to give birth to him, and this is where the director's cut comes in, because unlike the others where he just stops Kaylee from being his friend, and they go about their separate ways with him and Lenny burning the journals, here he goes back to when he was a fetus and, kills himself. Yeah, I told you the ending was crazy. I mean, as dark as it is very dark. It fits in line with the bleakness of the film. Plus, the other endings don't work with the brain damage in mind. He'd end up dead anyways, so yeah, what's kind of the point? It's not really a happy ending anyways. The other endings do a good job of showing how Evan lets go of his obsession with Kaylee, but because of the rules set up, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, it is very dark, as we also see Jason filming the video, which reminds me, I have to assume he didn't know his curse of time traveling could be passed down, and this seems to confirm something interesting. Remember when Andrea mentioned the 2 previous stillbirths? Yeah, I have to assume this also confirms they could time travel but chose to go back and end it all to make everyone's lives easier. It can be easy to say this ending promotes suicide and the very dark, wrong idea that the world would be better off without you, but saying that would be ignoring the complexities. It's clear that whatever Evan does is screwed, and his best bet was to either move on or not exist at all and end the curse. And in this he does, leaving the others to live fruitful lives as the film ends with Kaylee finally being happy. Yeah, you can see why many don't like this film, but why many also do. It's very divisive, and I for one am mixed. It has some clever moments, but is equally content with having a shit ton of dumb moments to progress the plot. It sucks because there is a great movie hidden in this decent one. It has all the right ideas and moments, mostly, but is too intent on bashing you over the head with them instead of just letting them play out more subtly and toned down. Still, it's an engaging and wild ride that I feel like you should watch at least once to fully understand, because even this review doesn't fully capture the feeling this film permeates. I hope you liked the video. If you did, feel free to show your support by liking, commenting, or subscribing. All those ways help in the algorithm and are free. Plus it shows YouTube that you want to see more of my videos, so you will. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.